Hi, and welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skabowski, Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Here we are.
Good morning. Yep, here we are. And, we always talk about how through summertime, spring and summer and fall, that's when the real estate season is hot.
Yeah, it definitely starts to pick up. We're in the selling season.
Mm-hmm.
You get first part of April all the way through late September into October. That's the peak season. Why is that? Well, historically, companies used to move people, typically when kids were out of school.
Yeah.
So, if you were buying now, you got 30, 45 days for when it was going to close. So you'd be finishing up just as the kids were getting out of school. You pack your old house and you pack up and you move to your new location.
Right.
So, but realistically, for our area, who wants to move in the wintertime? Now, people do.
I have. It's not fun.
It is much more difficult when you're dealing with snow,
Right.
cold, all that stuff. Trying to round buddies up when March Madness is happening.
Oh, yeah,
to help you move.
Hey, can you help me? Yeah, no, I'm
I'm
out of town that weekend.
Exactly. Or, in January, February, football, Super Bowl, all that stuff. It's just more difficult to move in the wintertime.
Right.
So typically the selling season is April through September, October. Occasionally extends into November, depends on the weather. So, in our community, it's a lakes community.
Yeah.
So we do get a lot more activity starts happening as soon as we get a few nice weekends. People come up, they're opening their cottages up. We just see a lot more traffic. I mean, my office is in North Webster, right on State Road 13.
Right.
And to turn out on Fridays.
Oh, it's busy.
People are coming, the traffic
man.
is just flying coming up 15
And
or
this past weekend was beautiful.
Beautiful weekend, a lot of traffic. I mean,
Yeah.
I was actually in the office on Sunday, and there was a lot of traffic, people heading back out.
Yeah.
Heading south. So from Wawasee up that direction, north of North Webster, people heading back south to get out of town.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in the market, there's still the opportunity for multiple offers in certain price points.
Okay.
It's not the entire market. It's not as crazy as it was in 21 and 22
Okay.
when people were buying sight unseen. They were waiving every inspection contingency. They were putting in appraisal waivers to where hey, I don't care what it appraises for, I'll buy it anyways, I'll pay any shortage, any of that. So I don't want people to say, hey, well, why is this idiot talking about multiple offers when we're not in the multiple offer stage? Well, it's because they're still happening. Not as frequently as they once were, but if you've got a home that's priced in that 175 to 250, $280,000. That's where a majority of the buyers are.
Okay. Yeah.
You've got a majority of the buyers in that price range. So you're going to see potentially, if you price it right, if it's in great shape, the right location, all that stuff, the possibility of multiple offers. So that's why we're having this discussion.
Okay.
So unlikely you're going to see 10 offers, but you could.
Okay.
I've been involved here in the last couple of weeks. I do have a buyer that's in that 175, 180 range. It's been crazy. It's a carousel of people going through these houses. They hit the market and they're pending in a day because there's multiple offers on them.
Yeah.
So if you're a seller, how do you deal with it? Well, narrow it down to the best couple of offers, the things that make the most sense to you.
Okay.
If you've got 3 or 4, great. You've got 3 or 4 offers to choose from.
Okay.
But narrow it down to a few, and you've got to use some criteria for that. I have a spreadsheet that I'd put together during that crazy time, and I modified it as it went. It isn't always just about price. It is not always just about price. So you want to evaluate those offers on the criteria that mean the most to you. If it is price, then so be it. That's what you're looking for, the highest net result to you as a seller. From an agent's perspective, and this is one of the reasons that you want to use an agent, is all we need to tell any other agents is, hey, we've got multiple offers. We can't tell them what those offers are, and that's to the seller's advantage. So somebody comes in, we've got a house that's listed at $200,000, and somebody comes in and offers $110,000. It's an extreme example, but somebody offers $110,000 and somebody offers $180,000. Well, guess what? Now we can pit those two against each other. It sounds like dirty pool, but it's good negotiation. We've got multiple offers. Well, what's the other offer? I can't tell you what it is. But the fact is, we do have multiple offers. At times, it can move that price point up for the seller. Now, buyers that are listening to this, think about that. What have I always said? Write your best offer first, and be prepared to walk away if it's not the right house for you. Here's what I'm willing to pay. It's a good offer. Take it. If you don't, there'll be more houses come on. So use a bad offer to push a good offer, essentially, from a seller's perspective. Don't fall for a bully offer. We had this happen to us just this week. Listed a house, had an agent showed it, sent the offer in at 2:30 in the afternoon, and gave us until 6 o'clock the same day to respond. Now we're well past that time point frame, where it was that nuts. I mean, again, we talked about during COVID, people were 1 hour response times.
Oh boy.
Don't offend the seller, right? Give them time to think about it. But it's on the market one day. They were writing the offer because they thought, hey, we're going to lose out. So in many cases, that's a bully offer. Take my offer or I'm going home. I'm taking my ball and going home. And after the break, we can talk about some other things that are related to these multiple offers. We'll also talk about interest rates.
Okay, you're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman with Mark Skabowski. We're talking about multiple offers.
Multiple offers, that every seller's dream, right? We've got a lot of people interested. We've got folks coming in, every buyer's nightmare. Because, hey, what'd they offer? What should I do? Again, I always counsel buyers, don't think about what anybody else is going to do. Let's worry about us. Let's worry about what we want. How bad do we want it? What's it worth to us? All the contingencies, things from a buyer's perspective. Don't be concerned about anybody else from a seller's perspective. What's important to you? And what I typically counsel, when I mentioned earlier about, not every offer is the same. It's not just about price. You might look at financing type. You might look at how much earnest money that they're putting down. You might look at possession. How long are they going to let me stay in the home? You look at inspections. Are they waiving inspections? Or are they asking for inspections? All of those things go into play. And I've actually had numerous cases where the seller chose the offer that, in their opinion, was the most likely to close. And when I say that, if you have a conventional buyer putting 20% down, and you have somebody that is 100% financing, right? When you look at why is the one putting 20% down and the one not? Now, who are we to judge? You can buy houses with 100% financing, and many people do. They've got good cash flow. They just don't have any reserves. But from a seller's perspective, the person who's got the 20% down has saved. They're more ready to purchase. From their perspective, it's a better deal for them. They've got more skin in the game than the person who's financing 100%. Earnest money, a lot of people, earnest money doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. If I'm really interested, I'm earnestly interested. That's what earnest money is used for. A higher amount, I've got more skin in the game. So from when I counsel sellers, it's like, look, the offer that we think is going to get to the table, that's the better one to take. We've had people, I'll just write another, I'm buying this one. Well, I'm not buying that one. I want to buy this one. Well, if they're not committed to our house, why do we want to start down this path with them and lose momentum? Be at day 30 and all of a sudden, we changed our mind. We're not going to buy. It's not good from a seller's perspective. So don't focus too much on price. Look at the deal that you think is going to get to the table. One of the things you'd like to do is to be able to sell as is. In Indiana, we do have the as is addendum, which basically says buyers can do inspections, but they aren't going to come back and ask you to make any repairs. However, if during those inspections something major comes up, and I always use radon is a major defect in Indiana. If buyer gets a radon test and it comes out too high, they could actually walk away. That's one of the difficulties with our as-is addendum, is that the buyer has all control of inspections. Now, they have to give us a copy of the report, and they can't just say, I changed my mind, I'm not going to buy. But if they find things in the inspection report that meet the standard of a defect in Indiana, and that's a whole show, talking about what is a defect, they could walk out if they chose to without giving you the opportunity to fix.
Okay.
But waiving inspections from a seller's standpoint, when a buyer waives inspections, you've relieved any thought to where now the only hurdle we got to do is cross the appraisal
Right.
and get the buyer to the closing table. Don't lose their job. Don't do something stupid. Go out and buy a house full of furniture.
Right.
Change their
Yeah.
credit, any of that stuff, right? So, from a seller's perspective, pick the offer that you think is going to get to the table. And, a lot of times people say, well, we're going to go back and say, well, this is our best and final offer. Well, I don't choose to do that.
Okay.
This is the highest I'm going to go, because if you're within $500, 9 out of 10 times people are going
Right.
to adjust.
Right.
So don't say it unless you mean it, from my perspective. On the buyer side, on the seller, well, that's all I'm going to do. Well, great. You're pounding your fist. That's all good.
In this market, that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, absolutely. And and speaking about the market, what are interest rates doing? Switching gears from multiple offers to oh my God,
Right.
interest rates. Again, I get those weekly updates. I got one last night, 7 3/8 on a 30-year fixed.
Is that up?
That is up. It has been down in the 6s. I've seen
that's what I
6 and
thought.
5/8.
Yeah.
We're back in the 7 3/8 in the peak selling season.
Wow.
In the peak selling season.
Why do you
And
think that
interest
is, though?
What have we got going on in the Middle East?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Right.
You got that stuff going
Yeah.
on. The Fed has yet to make any adjustments in
Okay.
cutting interest rates. Why? Because inflation's still going.
Yeah.
Pretty
it's still
high.
there.
It's still there. Prices
I know
are
it's
still going
settled
up.
somewhat, but it's still there.
It's settled out, but all of those things are impacting. So, right now, it's 7 3/8. We're starting to see people really consider it. When a majority of the folks who have bought previously are in the 3 and 4% range, what's your incentive to put your house on the market?
Yeah.
Which only leads to more affordability issues for buyers and leads to higher prices.
Yeah.
So, things are happening in the marketplace that are going to impact this season. They happen every year, but this 7 3/8, man, I just see people tightening up when it comes to that. The activity level is going to decrease with rates where they're at.
But it all goes back to probably, you said it, the very first show that we did together years ago. It goes back to your why.
Absolutely. If you need to move, you're going to move regardless of what it is. You need housing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not terrible, but those interest rates are definitely going to impact the market throughout the rest of the season.
Okay. All right. If you want to continue this conversation with Mark, give him a call. Your contact info?
Sure. Website, skabowskiteam.com. Phone numbers, 574-527-0660. You can always give me a shout. Shoot me an email, mark@skabowskiteam.com. Happy to help.
All right. Very good. Good info. And you've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend.